Well, today's day 3 of the Democratic National Convention. Tonight, former President Bill Clinton and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will take the stage before Tim Walz officially accepts the vice presidential nomination. Last night, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama urged Democrats to unite behind Vice President Kamala Harris to defeat Donald Trump in November. And the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, noted Thursday would be extra special for him and his wife.
For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black. Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
America, hope is making a comeback.
This Thursday will be our 10th wedding anniversary. I'll be hearing my wife, Kamala Harris, accept your nomination for President of the United States.
Well, CBS News anchor and correspondent Adriana Diaz is in Chicago with more. Adriana, it's really good to see you. Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz, they weren't there. They were actually in Milwaukee last night campaigning, proving that they could fill not 1 but 2 stadiums. They addressed the convention via video, though. I want to play a little of that sound. We don't have the sound. All right. What I actually want to get from you is, because you were there last night, is what the atmosphere was like. As I was watching, I kept on thinking, like, when does the DNC mixtape come out? Because this is a heck of a party.
It was a party, Emery. I was getting flashbacks from college because Lil Jon came out. He was, singing Get Low from the windows to the wall. And what they were doing was every state during the roll call was having music from that state. So Lil Jon for Georgia, he was actually there in person. They played Eminem for Michigan. They played Prince for Minnesota. They played Bruce Springsteen for New Jersey. Tupac for California. It was on and on and on, and people were dancing. Everyone just kept trying to one-up one another from state to state. So it was a party atmosphere.
Certainly, as you just sort of alluded to, a star-studded event, a number of fiery speeches, of course, the Obamas, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, former Trump White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham. What really stood out to you?
Well, Stephanie Grisham, right there, they had a number of Republicans who were out on the stage, taking main stage, talking about how they were crossing party lines to join Harris, how they were supporting her. You know, another person was Republican Mayor of Mesa, Arizona, John Giles. He talked about how, he is a lifelong Republican, a proud Republican, but he says the Republican Party of today is one he doesn't recognize. He said that Donald Trump has the GOP held hostage and that they're going down a path of political extremism, a path he wants no part of. So that's why he not only crossed party lines, but, is doing it in a big splashy way by addressing the DNC. He started out saying, I never thought I would be here, but here I am, and I feel more comfortable here than I would have at the RNC.
Wow. Tim Walz is going to be addressing the convention tonight when he officially accepts the VP nomination. Any sneak peek, any intel on what we can expect?
Anne-Marie, they are keeping those remarks under lock and key. But what we've seen him talk about before are these major themes, how they both, even though they come from different parts of the country, they still share those middle-class values. They talk about their parents and the values their parents instilled in them, how, Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's. We actually learned last night Doug Emhoff also worked at McDonald's, where he was Employee of the Month. So that was interesting. But Tim Walz is really going to try to paint the picture of how he is cut from this same cloth as Kamala, even though they have different upbringings, even though he represents kind of that Midwestern sensibility. I was based in Chicago for almost 10 years. It is so nice to be back. But there is something about that. They call it Minnesota nice up in Minnesota. There's a sensibility, there's a kindness, there's a warmth, there's kind of like that everyman a feeling that Tim Walz represents. And so he's probably going to put that on display tonight.
All right, Adriana, thank you very much.
Thanks, Anne Marie.